The cafeteria smelled of fried food and teenage sweat, that typical blend of chaos that came with a school lunch hour. Laughter echoed against the walls, trays clattered, sneakers squeaked on the polished floor. At one corner of the room sat a girl who never seemed to laugh like the others, though her eyes often carried more kindness than anyone else's. Her name was Emily, 16 years old, thin, pale, and bound to a wheelchair after an accident years ago. Most students passed by her as though she were invisible. Some gave her pitying smiles, while others threw snide glances and whispered words that stung worse than silence. Emily never said much. She kept her head down, quietly eating her food, sketching in her worn notebook, or pretending to be absorbed in something else while the world spun without her. On this particular day, the sun glared harshly through the cafeteria windows, lighting up every corner, every sneer, every smirk. 3 boys swaggered in with their usual arrogance. They were the kind of boys who carried cruelty like a badge of honor. Their names were Tyler, Brent, and Mason. Football players, loudmouths, the type who thought the whole school belonged to them. They spotted Emily, sitting quietly at her table with a small juice box and a sandwich she had packed from home. Brent leaned toward the others with a grin, his voice dripping with malice. "Watch this," he said. They approached Emily like predators circling prey. She looked up, eyes nervous, hands tightening on her tray. Tyler snatched the juice box from her table and raised it high.
"Hey, look, she's thirsty!"
he shouted, gaining the attention of the tables nearby. Mason laughed, already pulling out his phone to record. Emily shook her head. "Please, just give it back." Her voice was soft, almost fragile, but there was a sharpness in her eyes, a silent demand for dignity. But dignity was the last thing they intended to give her. Tyler pierced the juice box with a straw, shook it, and then deliberately tilted it over Emily's head. Sticky orange liquid poured down her hair, her shirt, dripping onto the wheelchair handles and staining her lap. Gasps filled the cafeteria. Some kids chuckled nervously. Others winced, but no one stepped in. Not one. Emily froze, her lip trembling, tears stinging her eyes but refusing to fall. She wouldn't give them the satisfaction. Brent clapped Tyler on the back, roaring with laughter. Mason's phone camera captured every second. "Now she looks refreshed," Brent mocked, mimicking the announcer voice of a commercial. New wheelchair fragrance, citrus disaster. The cafeteria erupted in cruel laughter. A few kids whispered to each other, "That's too much." But their voices were too weak, drowned under the roar of bullies. Emily's hands trembled on her tray. Her sandwich slipped to the floor. Her sketchbook was stained by juice, the pencil drawings of flowers smudged and ruined. And then, from across the cafeteria, a sharp voice cut through the noise. "Hey!" The laughter softened as heads turned. Walking toward them with steady, confident strides was Aaliyah, a black girl with braids cascading down her shoulders, eyes blazing with a fire no one dared to joke about. She wasn't the tallest, but there was something in her presence that commanded attention. Aaliyah wasn't the type to back down, and everyone knew it. She had grown up fighting battles people didn't see, battles that carved strength into her bones. When she looked at Tyler, Brent, and Mason, her stare was enough to silence their smug grins for a split second. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she demanded, stepping right between Emily and the boys. Her hands planted firmly on the table, her glare locked onto Tyler's smirk. "Oh, relax," Mason said, lowering his phone, though he kept recording from the corner. "We were just having fun." "Fun?" Aaliyah's voice dripped with disbelief. "Dumping juice on a girl in a wheelchair. That's your idea of fun?" Tyler chuckled, leaning back as though her fury amused him. "Don't get so serious, hero. Nobody got hurt." Aaliyah's jaw tightened. She turned to Emily, who was still frozen in her chair, sticky juice dripping onto the floor. Aaliyah bent down, grabbed some napkins, and gently wiped Emily's face. Her movements were slow, steady, deliberate, as if telling Emily through action, "You're not alone anymore." Emily's lips trembled. Her eyes glistened with tears she had held back until that moment, and just like that, Aaliyah stood up again. Her shoulders straightened, her fists clenched. Her voice dropped low and steady, the kind of tone that made people lean in without realizing. "You 3 better listen carefully," she said, staring them down one by one. "You think you can humiliate someone who can't fight back. You think that makes you strong. Nah, it just makes you cowards. And cowards always pay for what they do." Brent laughed nervously, trying to brush it off. "Or what? What are you gonna do? Cry for her?" Aaliyah stepped closer, nose to nose with him. No, I don't cry. Her eyes didn't flinch. I make people regret. The cafeteria went silent. Even the bullies didn't laugh this time. Something about her voice, her stance, the way her fists curled at her sides. It was a promise, not a threat, and everyone could feel it. The next 20 minutes would change everything.